U.S. women to play in Puerto Rico for FIBA World Cup qualifier. Indiana Fever's Aaliyah Boston left talks with Caitlin Clark during the first half of a WNBA basketball game against the Minnesota Lynx Tuesday, September 9, 2025 in Indianapolis. The U.S. will play in Puerto Rico in March for the FIBA Women's World Cup qualifier. The Americans, who have already qualified for the World Cup next year in Germany, are in a pool with Italy, New Zealand, Puerto Rico, Senegal, and Spain. The U.S. will open competition on March 11th versus Senegal, followed by Puerto Rico a day later. The Americans play Italy on March 14th and New Zealand the following day. The U.S. and Spain will close out competition on March 17th. There will be a training camp or two for the Americans before the qualifying tournament, which most likely would include Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark. She said during her exit interviews that she was going to be preparing this offseason to play for USA Basketball. There's some USA Basketball stuff that is probably my top priority right now that I need to prepare for, and I think that will help me prepare for next season too, she said last week. But obviously, then you have to prepare for USA Basketball in some manner, so there's just a lot of different things you got to figure out and balance. And, I'll work through a lot of that too. Clark has been sidelined since the middle of July with groin and ankle injuries. While there's a strong possibility that Clark would be playing there, the Americans most likely would be without their coach, Kara Lawson. The coach of Duke's women's team was recently named the U.S. Olympic coach for the 2028 Los Angeles Games. The World Cup qualifier is right before the start of the NCAA tournament. Unrivaled, the 3-on-3 league in Miami is expected to be done with its season before the start of the qualifier. FIBA will also be having qualifying tournaments in Istanbul, Lyon-Villeurbanne, France, and Wuhan, China. Belgium, Australia, and Nigeria have already qualified for the World Cup, as well as host Germany. So the top three finishers, not including those teams in Istanbul, China, and Puerto Rico, will advance to the World Cup. In France, it will be the top two teams not including Germany and Nigeria. The Caribbean sun shimmered over San Juan's turquoise waters as Team USA's plane descended onto the island. For the U.S. women's basketball team, the trip wasn't just another qualifier. It was a mission wrapped in palm trees, pride, and purpose. The FIBA Women's World Cup qualifiers had brought them to Puerto Rico, a place where basketball passion runs deep, the drums echo louder than whistles, and every court feels like a stage. When the news broke that the United States would play its next World Cup qualifying games in Puerto Rico, fans cheered. Not just for the matchup, but for the moment. For a generation of young Puerto Rican girls who grew up idolizing WNBA stars like Aya Wilson, Breanna Stewart, and Caitlin Clark, this was more than a game. It was a dream arriving at their doorstep. A new kind of challenge. The U.S. women have long been the dominant force in international basketball. They've collected gold medals like postcards, building a dynasty fueled by skill, unity, and unrelenting ambition. Yet, this trip to Puerto Rico carried a different rhythm. It wasn't about proving dominance. It was about deepening connection. Head coach Cheryl Reeve understood that. "We're here to compete, of course," she said during the team's first practice at the Roberto Clemente Coliseum. "But we're also here to respect the culture, to feel the energy, and to play our brand of basketball in a way that uplifts everyone in the gym." For stars like Caitlin Clark, the moment held a special spark. The rookie sensation, fresh off her first WNBA season, was now donning the red, white, and blue, a jersey worn by legends. "It's surreal," she admitted, smiling as cameras flashed around her. "To play in a place with this kind of heart, it's impossible not to be inspired." Puerto Rico, a nation of rhythm and resilience. Puerto Rico's relationship with basketball is woven into its soul. From playgrounds carved into hillsides to seaside courts painted in rainbow hues, the island lives and breathes hoops. The national team, Los 12 Magnificas, has earned growing international respect, an emblem of pride and progress. So, when the reigning world champions arrived, they were greeted not as invaders, but as sisters of the game. Children waved American and Puerto Rican flags side by side. Local vendors sold USA versus PR shirts next to empanadas and coconut ice cream. The atmosphere wasn't tense, it was electric, a carnival of competition and camaraderie. "Basketball unites us," said Puerto Rico's veteran guard, Arella Garantes. "When the U.S. plays here, it's not just about who wins. It's about showing the world how much the island loves this sport." The game before the game. In the days leading up to the qualifier, Team USA held open practices for fans. Hundreds filled the bleachers to watch drills that looked like poetry in motion. Aya Wilson's effortless footwork, Jewel Lloyd's silky jumper, and Clark's deep threes drew gasps and applause. But beyond the awe, something beautiful happened: interaction. Between sets, players handed out signed balls, took selfies, and even joined in local youth clinics. "We want every girl here to see what's possible," said Brianna Stewart. "Basketball can take you places you never imagined." I hope they feel that. Meanwhile, Puerto Rico's team prepared with equal intensity. Their coach emphasized tempo, heart, and defense, knowing full well that against the U.S., execution must be flawless. "We know what we're up against," he said, "but we've learned from every matchup. We're not here to bow down, we're here to rise." Tip-off under the tropics. When game night arrived, San Juan vibrated with anticipation. The Coliseum was packed to the rafters, a sea of red, blue, and gold. The smell of popcorn mingled with the hum of drums, and every seat pulsed with energy. From the opening tip, it was a showcase of world-class basketball. The U.S. came out sharp, Stewart hitting early jumpers, Wilson dominating the paint, and Clark igniting fast breaks with laser passes. But Puerto Rico refused to fade. Their guards attacked fearlessly, their crowd roaring with every bucket. By halftime, the U.S. led by single digits. The fans loved every minute. It wasn't about one side overpowering the other. It was about the shared joy of witnessing greatness. In the second half, the Americans turned up the defense, suffocating lanes and forcing turnovers. Aya Wilson powered through double teams, and Clark, ever the showwoman, pulled up from the logo, swish. The arena erupted, half in awe, half in disbelief. Even Puerto Rican fans couldn't help but cheer. When the final buzzer sounded, the scoreboard told a familiar story: Team USA victorious. But in truth, everyone had won. Players hugged at midcourt, exchanging smiles and jerseys. The fans gave both teams a standing ovation that lasted minutes.